Some members of Parliament's Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee have cast doubt about the effectiveness of the proposed office of the Special Prosecutor in tackling corruption. They are also expressing concern it will be a duplication of the role of the Attorney General. Well, the AG is expected to lay before Parliament a bill to allow for the setting up of the office today. The NDC MP for South Dying, Roxin Dafeamopo, who is a member of the committee, has been speaking on what he expects the bill will contain. He says the office will not make any difference in the corruption fight as envisaged by government.
Our expectations are that the bill will contain all the necessary ingredients, i.e. the tenure of office of the Special Prosecutor, for instance, the conditions of service, for instance, the kind of personnel to be appointed and who will be the appointing authority, for instance, and indeed who will be the appointing authority of the Special Prosecutor also. So these are some of the things that we expect to see in the bill. We also expect to see a section regarding the scope of cases that he will be empowered to investigate. Is it going to be corruption-related cases alone, or is it going to be corruption across board alone? So we are on the lookout for some of these things.
The expectation is that it will help deal with corruption and that you may end up, uprooting it to a certain extent. Do you share that view?
I don't, because really the Article 88 of our Constitution 92 already empowers the Attorney General sufficiently to deal with all manner of corruption cases. And indeed, there are other statutory and constitutional bodies that are supposed to deal with corruption cases. We have IOCO, we have SHRAJ, we have the Bureau of National Investigations, we have the Criminal Investigations Department of the Police, and we have the Narcotics Control Board. So all these are statutory and constitutional bodies that already help the gamut of other offices under the aegis of the Attorney General. We have a whole criminal division headed by the Director of Public Prosecution. And the AGs are the apex. They are supposed to investigate all matters of crime, including malfeasance in officialdom. And so, for me, the Office of the Special Prosecution will not be doing anything extraordinary. What I see is that it will rather be another statutory creation that is just to help to effectuate or effectively carry out some of this.
Duplication, you think?
I think so, because in our preliminary reservation comments and expressing our reservation about the idea, we say it will amount to a mere duplication of functions and of duties. But we'll look forward to the bill and see how the debate goes.
The MP for Gumwa and the Vice Chairman of the committee, Alexander Kujokom Aban, agrees the office may not make a lot of difference.
For now, it may be palliative. I'm not sounding pessimist or pessimistic, but it may have some palliative effect because in the beginning it will be hailed, and probably because it has been introduced afresh, there will be that insulation. We have not seen the bill yet, but I believe that the bill will insulate the Special Prosecutor from all political interferences and all that, and that his tenure of office is going to be assured, and that he is not going to be at the beck and call of the executive. If those kind of political or legal safeguards are given, then at least we can then bank our hope on the integrity and the fortitudeness of the prosecutor himself, right? But if the prosecutor is still going to be at the behest of the executive, then I'm afraid that we may have it just in name and it may not have any serious bite. So let the bill come. It is my expectation that the independent prosecutor will be truly independent and that he will be forthright and deal with people regardless of their background without any animosity, without any ill feeling, without any if I say, he will not do that capriciously. He would make sure that he just let the law apply blindly to everybody.
A former Deputy National Coordinator of the National Youth Employment Agency, James Adongo, Monday mounted a strong defense for his former boss and a businessman who was standing trial with another person for causing financial loss to the state, insisting the final approval for the payment of some 4.1 million Ghana cedis was given by the then Minister of Youth and Sport, Clement Kofi Humado. This is in sharp contrast to claims by the minister that he relied solely on advice given by the National Coordinator, Abuga Pele, to authorize the payment. Mr. Abuga Pele is alleged to have recommended that the said payment with the businessman Philip Asibit, accused of putting in false claims when no work was done for the state. Court correspondent Joseph Akable monitored proceedings and has come through with his report.
Former Deputy National Coordinator of the NYEP was brought in as a witness for the businessman, Mr. Philip Asibit. Now, he is accused of putting in a false claim. Now, in his testimony to the court, James Adongo insisted that the then Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. Clement Kofi Humado, was involved at each stage of the payment process. His testimony essentially focused on two main things. First, explained to the court the checks and balances that existed at the time he was at office, and also telling the court about how the former minister was involved. He insisted that when a user agency puts in a request for such a payment to be made, it starts from the level of the NYEP, where first a monitoring team takes a look at that request. It goes over to the management level, after which approval is given. Then the national coordinator makes a recommendation to the ministry for the payments. Now, even when that recommendation is made, it is not effected immediately, as the ministry also has its own checks and balances in place. It starts from the level of its audit team, it rises through to levels that involves the minister and its monitoring team at that level, after which approval is given before that will be communicated to the NYEP for payment to be made. He again explained that even after that payment has been made with a check issued, when a user agency goes over to the bank to request for the said payment, that is not effected until the NYEP again writes to the bank, authorizing the bank to make the said payment. His testimony was in sharp contrast to that given by the then minister, Clement Kofi Humado, when he appeared before the court. He had told the court that he solely relied on the advice given by the national coordinator, Mr. Abuga Pele, in allowing that payment to be made. But the lawyer for the businessman, addressing the press at the close of proceedings, insisted they will be demonstrating before the court that indeed the client worked and was paid duly for that.
My client, who is the first accused person, denies that he ever used false pretenses to take money from the Ghana government. On the contrary, he delivered services and he was paid for. And that's the end of the matter. And of course, at the trial, that's what we're seeking to do. At the trial, that he provided consultancy services and he finished the work that he was hired to do, and he was paid, and the money that he took it for work done. And there is no stealing, no defrauding by false pretenses, no criminality involved. It's as simple as that. But it is only at the end of this case that the judge will determine whether we succeeded in our defense or not. So,
hearing of the matter continues on July 18, where Mr. James Adongo, the former Deputy National Coordinator of the National Youth Employment Program, will continue with his testimony to the court. For Joy News, Joseph Akable, Law Court Complex.
Elsewhere, some assembly members and traders at the Kotokraba market in the central regional capital, Cape Coast, are protesting what they describe as unfair distribution of market stalls in the metropolis. And according to them, including some original store owners at the old market, the new stalls have been given to family and friends of the governing New Patriotic Party at the expense of the original occupant. This, they add, is in the defiance of a court directive that the original owners should be allocated the stalls. Joy News' Richard Kojunako reports that the traders are currently threatening to embark on a demonstration if the anomaly is not resolved.
So this is the ultra-modern market, Kokraba market, that was built recently, and this one was built following the demolition of the old structure. Before the demolition, there were some traders and market women that used to occupy some of the old structures, and they believe and their hope was that when the new one has been built, they would be given portions, or they will be given some market stores here for them to occupy. Just as when the new market was completed last year, after President John Dramani Mahama had commissioned the market, some people took the matter to court for an injunction to be placed on the sharing of the market, and they succeeded. Now a new government is in place, and then we are told that there is a committee that is responsible for the distribution of the market stores. It has turned out, or it is emerging, that some traders and some assembly members in the Cape Coast metropolis are unhappy. Their unhappiness stems from the fact that their names have been deleted from the sharing of the market stores, and they are not in the least happy. Today at a press conference that was organized by the concerned assembly members of the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly and some of the market women who were all clad in red outfits and red armbands, they contend that it is not fair, and they describe it as an economic oppression because it is something against their right. They are denying them of their right to own some of the stores. Hitherto, they used to have some of the stores. They are calling on authorities to do things right. Otherwise, tomorrow they are going to stage a demonstration, one of the biggest demonstrations ever to happen in the Cape Coast metropolis.
Were in this original document, or they are here. This is the original document that court ordered the former MCE to submit, and he submitted. You can see it. And we also have a document here to prove to our media men. This document stands for before redevelopment. The court called for this document. And the former MC, Honorable Prisra Pranchin Ayin, submitted this document to court, and it contained 1,567 names before redevelopment. Now, after the redevelopment, all these names were captured in the document that the former MC used to allocate the market. And as of now, I was speaking with you, you realize that those names that I mentioned earlier have been expunged or have been taken off from this original document. And there are several of them, about 60, but I mentioned a few. For people who have been given local stores illegally.
And later on in the show, we'll be speaking to Richard Kujunako to give us the latest update about the Kokraba market in the central regional capital, Cape Coast. But let's move on. Have you ever thought of taking persons who are mentally challenged to the shower? If it is no, that is your answer. What about giving them clean shave on the head and other private part? But that is the task some civil society organizations in the Upper West region have given themselves, all in a bit to commemorate Nelson Mandela Day. They come around the one municipality and brought together about 48 mentally challenged persons to give them a clean look and a clean shave. Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam has more from WA.
18th July each year is a date set aside by the United Nations General Assembly to celebrate Nelson Mandela of South Africa for his lifetime role in the fight for human rights, freedom and justice. It is usually a day for community service by individuals to take action and inspire change. Civil society organizations comprising Alternative Action for Youth and Persons with Disabilities, ATPED Ghana, in collaboration with Bahas and Whole Life Foundations, combed round the Wa Township and brought together 46 mental challenged persons for a party. Before the party was held, they first brought them in groups on a tricycle, shaved their hairs, and those who could bath on their own were allowed to do so. They were given youth clothes they gathered from the community to wear. They, however, had a difficulty when one of them, who was visibly angered for calling him a mental challenged person when he wasn't. He explained that he may have been jaded, dirty, and wearing wretched clothes, and that does not translate to being a mental challenged person. I took the pain to ask him to convince me why he is not a mental challenged person and should not be taken to the shower.
I am Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I am the one who gained independence for this country. I saw that the blacks here were suffering under the whites. I fought and sacked them from Ghana. What kind of disgrace is this? Can you go to Burkina Faso and take their president to the shower? He is my equal.
He finally agreed to go into the shower, but will not change his wretched jacket after bathing and the pocket of refuse he tied to his waist. He was finally allowed to go away, but the rest were fed with food, drinks, and later danced to show their dancing skills. Acting Director of ATPEC Ghana, Nicodemus Dere, threw more light on the program.
Today's celebration is important to us because we are taking from community to give back to community. This is community service. As some of you followed that yesterday, the meals we are preparing to give to our brothers here today, we did not spend a peso buying anything. We went into the market, the butchers contributed meat for us, the market women gave us ingredients, individuals contributed rice and oil for us. Mandela Day is for all. It is expected that every individual is a change maker in your community. We are initiating change, that we should respect persons with disability, and the change begins with you and I. We are expecting that from the event that we are carrying out today, tomorrow when you are meeting a person that is challenged or a person that has disability on the street, you should know that we are all the same people and the rights must be upheld.
Executive Director of Bahas Foundation, Ilyasu Yusuf Baba, who is the brain behind the program, spoke about the need to integrate them into the community.
I have about 148 mental challenged people across Upper West. In one municipal alone, we have 48 of them as we are speaking now. But if you look at the number we've bathed today, you know, we have about 47 of them. Last week we bathed them, we have about 60. Today we have about 47 of them. So I knew very well that inshallah, when we continue bathing them, something, you know, good can come. Because some of them, after bathing them, you can see that they are free and they can go back to, but the society doesn't accept them. The society doesn't accept them because I'm pleading through media that whoever is having a mental challenge patient back at his home, he should take very good care of them.
Also present at the program was the Upper West Regional President of the Ghana Federation of Persons with Disabilities, Ibrahim Sani.
It's not the person willing that it should be like this. So I would like everyone, especially the parents of these people, to show concern. You can see that today they have bathed them, they look very neat. So at least we shouldn't neglect them. Whatever support we have for them, we should give it to them.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Just imagine this. Eventually, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah got shaved. We'll see how that goes. Good morning to you, Mama V.
you, Mani Roland. That's a very interesting story filed.
Yeah, it was
by Rafiq
interesting.
Salam.
And you know, when you send a summary overnight,
Yeah.
and this morning I got to, of course I read it yesterday though, but I just read it again this morning. I was thinking maybe it was one of those, you know, things that people put on WhatsApp and social media. But then I said, no, it could be real. So
this is real.
And this is real.
And it's a good initiative, by the way.
Yeah, true. Yeah. He gained independence for Ghana. He's a president.
Oh,
why should he be shaved? Well,